Before we dive headfirst into code, let's do a quick recap of where we are right now. I have a WordPress site running a custom child theme I just created. I've activated a plugin that allows me to add category images, and here I have a category that if we go look at on the back end, has a category image applied. So now what I want to do is display the category image below the title and above the description. To do this, I need to make a change to the template file that's displaying the current content. And that file will differ depending on the parent theme you're using. So let's take a closer look at this. If I go to the Simone theme and I scroll down, you'll see I have a file called archive.php. And this is a fallback file for all archive pages, be them taxonomy pages, date pages, author archives, and so on. In some themes, you'll only find this archive.php file. In that case, that's the file you want to copy. But in other themes, you may find a file called either category.php, tag.php, author.php, or date.php. If that's the case, then those files will be the ones used for, respectively, categories, tags, authors, and date archives. So, depending on your parent theme, you may have to change different files. But like I said, in the Simone theme, we're going to change the archive.php template. So I'm going to go and open archive.php in my parent theme. Then I'll highlight all the code, copy all the code, and then go back to my child theme, create a new file, call it the exact same thing, archive.php, and paste all the code back in. What this does is create a copy of the file that's stored in my child theme, and this file now takes precedence over the parent theme archive.php file. To test that everything works, I'm going to go and put some text here. So I'll put, this is the child theme archive.php file. Save it, go and reload my archive page. And now you see right here, it says, this is the child theme archive.php file. So now I have a new override in my child theme that I can mess around with. If I make any mistakes, I can just delete the file and start over. So I'm not destroying anything. I'm just adding new things to my child theme. Now that I know it works, I'm going to take my test out, and then I need to find where I'm going to place the new code. Now you'll remember I said I want the image to appear below the title and above the description. So now I can go into my template here, scroll down and look at this. Here we have the H1 that outputs the page title with conditions for categories, tags, authors, dates, and so on. And below that, here's the end of the H1 tag, we have the description. So this is the code that outputs the description. That means I want my category image to go here. So I'm going to test it, quickly save it, and reload the page. And as you can see, category image goes here. We're in the right place. Now I need the code to output the category image, and this code will depend on the plugin you're using. In my case, I'm using categories images, and I actually have the code I need right here on the plugin directory page. If I simply copy out this small code example right here and paste it in where I want my image to appear and save it, you'll see when I reload my page, the code I just copied outputs the URL that points directly to this image. That means I'm getting the information I need, the correct image. So all I have to do is wrap that URL in an image tag, and then it'll display as an image on my page. But I'm going to do a little bit more than that. First, I'm going to clean up this code example a bit. So I'll put some curly brackets in here and break it down so that it's nice and easy to read for you. And then we can take a look at the code we have right now. First, we start with a conditional statement. If function exists, Z taxonomy image URL. This function is put in place to ensure that the plugin is currently running. Because if the plugin is running, so we don't have this function, if we try to run the function, we'll cause an error. So this is a very simple way of testing that this only happens if the plugin is running. But I'm going to add an additional condition here. I want to also make sure I actually have a category image, because I don't want to output HTML if there's no image to be displayed. So I'm going to put in and Z taxonomy image URL is not equals null. This means I'm only going to run this function if I have the plugin activated and there's an actual image to be displayed. Now I can finally wrap the image URL in a figure tag and then in an image tag so that it's displayed properly. So I'll start out by echoing out a figure tag with a class so I can target it with CSS later. Then I'll echo out an image tag, and I'll set the source to this function, z taxonomy image URL, which outputs the image URL. I'll close the source, and then I'll add an alt tag, because you have to add an alt tag. But in this case, the image has no bearing on the content, so I'm going to leave it blank. I'll close my image tag, and finally, close my figure. Now I can save my new archive.php template file, go and reload the page, and voila, here we have the category image. Now it looks a little bit strange because it's a huge image and there's no real breathing space between the title and the image. So I'm going to quickly jump back to my style.css file. This is my child theme style sheet. And then I'll go and grab the name of this, which was category image. So this is the class. And I'll say category image, margin, top 1em, close my new class, reload the page. Image gets breathing space, and we now have a proper category image on the page. And if I now jump to something else, maybe a different category, you'll see here's an image as well. But if I jump to a category that has no image, the title displays, and we don't have extra HTML cluttering up the page. Now that's the simple way of using category images. In the next chapter, we'll look at more advanced ways of using the category images to create whole new user experiences for your visitors.